million tons of sewage sludge or biosolids are applied to farmland here in the U.S. as fertilizer. But it often contains PFAS, toxic chemicals that have been linked to cancer. And those chemicals are now invading our food supply. And as Fox 17 News' Lisa Fletcher shared, verge of some action to address the risk, there is a high-level effort to shut it down.
An invisible enemy is being welcomed onto American farms.
This is a forever chemical. It's not leaving.
Fertilizer that can be teeming with toxic PFAS is being spread across tens of millions of acres, absorbed by crops, eaten by livestock, and showing up in the produce, milk, and meat Americans consume.
All a farmer wants to do is grow a good, healthy crop, do right by the land, feed the public in a responsible manner. And when something is injected into his world like this, it's going to devastate him.
Rob Hinton is a fourth-generation Virginia farmer, trying to alert others to a crisis already playing out in places like Michigan and Maine, where farms utilizing PFAS-laden sludge have been shut down when the animals and soil turned toxic.
This is about as real as it gets, guys.
Maine farmer Fred Stone was forced to close his dairy farm and euthanize 80% of his herd when milk from his cows had levels of PFAS 350 times higher than the current limit for drinking water. Stone is now sick, battling extremely high levels of PFAS in his blood.
The health issues that the four of us have are pretty severe. We literally poisoned our son and my daughter.
The chemicals are tied to cancer, reproductive issues, and developmental effects in children, even decreased response to vaccines. Enough evidence for Rob Hinton to say no to sludge.
You passed on using it.
We passed on using it. I gave it a hard look twice, and we walked away from it.
Away from a product used on about 1/5 of all U.S. farmland. Here's how it works. Wastewater treatment facilities pay companies to haul tons of human excrement, or biosolids. Those companies have to unload the waste, often by giving it to farmers for free to spread on their land.
That's hundreds of millions of people in the U.S. eating food from farms that use biosolids. So the exposure is incredibly high.
Which is why EPA action is so important, says Kyla Bennett, Director of Science Policy at Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility. For the first time ever, this year, the EPA identified risks from sludge containing PFAS being spread on farms. The agency found that food and milk produced on those farms could be unsafe for human health. Elevated cancer risk was one of the agency's markers for safety.
We can give you cancer and kill you, but there's going to be a lag time. And the more that you eat, the more you're exposed to.
Only a handful of states are testing for PFAS in biosolids, and what they're finding are levels so alarming they're considering statewide bans. Investigations in Michigan showed levels of PFAS 2,000 times higher than the EPA's safety limit. In Colorado, 95% of samples exceeded that limit. And recently, a Texas county declared a state of emergency over PFAS contamination from sludge. But in the widespread absence of regulation, farmers are on their own.
Who's left to fix the problem?
No one. I don't know what I can do about it. This interview is about all I can do about it. I'm not saying shut this whole thing down. Let's say do your due diligence, do your job, be a government, regulate this stuff, educate the people who are affected, and let's figure it out.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
There is a major wrinkle in these calls for regulation, though. You heard about that risk assessment from the EPA. Well, we've learned that there is a high-level effort underway in Congress to actually stop working on this issue entirely and shut down the process. In our next report, Spotlight on America will track down answers from key congressional lawmakers.
We were here all the time, just minding our business, and they saw an opportunity to take over this whole neighborhood so they could develop it. So they've taken our land up to within 8 feet of our house. You hear houses making all kind of noise. You hear the trucks coming in, going out, picking up the pigs, taking them out. And then they started spraying animal waste on us.
As a source of fertilizer for farmland, it's causing a stink. Human waste as a source of fertilizer for farmland. It's causing a stink across the country with concerns over polluted waterways and what's getting into our food chain.
The I-Team's Cynthia Gould reports from Blount County.
Regina Alcorn's family runs a 600-acre cattle farm.
And we love it, and we have enjoyed it, raised our children here, and love the country air, love to raise horses. We have dogs, kennels, huskies. We enjoy this peace, and it's just our lifestyle.
But that lifestyle in danger, according to Alcorn, when the trucks started coming in 2 years ago.
This sludge stuff started coming in, and it is being dumped in tractor trailer load day and night. I have an 85-year-old mom. She can't breathe. She's on oxygen when they're spreading. There's particles floating in the air.
They liken the odor to the smell of death. Companies hauling in sewer sludge and biosolids from wastewater treatment plants, putting it on farmlands, calling it a cheap fertilizer.
But nobody knows where to begin. You're a little man against the big guys.
The dumping permitted through the state agency ADEM. Alcorn says her complaints have gone nowhere.
These companies go out and prey upon these local communities, knowing that the state governments or the county governments are either unwilling or unable to protect their citizens.
Lawyer Jay Holloway says this may be pursued as a nuisance case.
Just because an activity is legal, it doesn't mean that you can do this activity in a way that destroys the value and use of your neighbor's property.
We can't enjoy what we have built for our family over 30 years.
It's really bad here.
This biosolid human waste is running off into this stream.
That water flows from a natural creek to the Locust Fork and Black Warrior River. Pollution tests are underway. In this case, 2 million gallons of sewer sludge was dumped on property here off County Highway 41 in Altoona through the end of December. It came from the Rainbow City wastewater treatment plant. Denali Water Solutions was paid $236,000 to get rid of it. Rainbow City calls the sludge decomposed organic silt and sand. Alcorn questions exactly what is in it.
These are chemicals that's coming through the body and being excreted, medications, radiation, plastics, cancer-causing agents.
ADEM requires nutrient management plans. There are 3 commercial regulated entities in Alabama. Denali says it has met all the government regulations, but critics say our farmland is turning into dumps. Dennis Burton, who owns Burton Farms where that human waste is being dumped, told us he does not see a problem with all this. Burton says there is a smell, but the farmer he leases the land to says it is all approved. Now, in a written statement, Denali calls this a beneficial agricultural practice and says its own independent testing shows the biosolids are not toxic. Cynthia Gould, ABC 33.
I've come across this rather extraordinary recipe from one of the water companies. The first thing in, a load. This is actually the least worrying ingredient of the whole recipe. Some forever chemicals, plenty of pathogens, a dollop of heavy metals, pesticides, and now a generous dash of pharmaceuticals. And a seriously toxic sludge is never complete without microplastics. Apparently there's no regulation here at all, so I'll just keep on pouring. Liquid industrial waste. Some of this stuff has leached out of landfill sites, so there could be anything in it. That's everything in there. Time to mix it up. It is unlike any recipe I've made before. And it says here, I've got to cover the whole thing up. For years. That just leaves the final step. Spread the sludge on British farmland without telling the farmers what's in it. For years, sewage sludge from water treatment plants contaminated with these kind of toxins has been spread on UK farmland. Farmers are usually unaware of what's actually in it, or that repeating spreading risks contaminating soil to the point that it can no longer support crops.